Today, let me explain Dragon, his devil fruit, and the meaning behind his actions. Please stick around until the end. I hope this will make sense. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to help it grow. Dragon has always been an enigma, but if we analyze him carefully, his character starts to make sense. Dragon was a marine. In fact, he joined at the age of 16, the exact same age Luffy decided to become a pirate. But after witnessing the horrors of God Valley, he realized the system was not to be trusted and was being completely exploited by the celestial dragons. That is why, when speaking to Ivankov, he mentioned that while the goal of both the Revolutionary Army and the Navy was supposedly to help people, the only justice he ever found in the Navy was on their backs. At first, he formed the Freedom Fighters, a group that was far more peaceful than the Revolutionary Army. Sometimes they even relied on demonstration tactics rather than brute force. But once it became clear that the world government would not play fair and would always resort to force as they did in Ohara, the Freedom Fighters evolved into the Revolutionary Army. This marked a shift toward more direct, action-oriented resistance, making the world government their official enemy and the celestial dragons their primary target. And, of course, as the world's worst criminal and the most notorious revolutionary, Dragon is modeled after Che Guevara, one of the most famous revolutionaries in history. In fact, Oda even had a picture of Che Guevara in his office. In November 1956, the ship used to transport 82 fighters of the Cuban Revolution from Mexico to Cuba with the purpose of overthrowing the regime of Fulgencio Batista was named Granma. In One Piece, Dragon's ship is called the Wind Granma. The inspiration is clear. We even saw a Che Guevara look-alike in the cover story, where Caribou was stranded on an island. There was a grandma, whose child looked exactly like Che Guevara. Dragon's ship, the Wind Granma. The Granma part is easy to understand because of Che Guevara's ship, but what about the wind? Well, every time we see Dragon, there is always wind blowing. His dialogue constantly references the wind. When Dragon appeared on chapter 100, a strong wind also appeared. Why wind? Because dragons make wind. Look at Kaido's devil fruit powers. His dragon form creates powerful wind as well. And notice, both Luffy and Dragon are from Fusha village, literally windmill village. When Dragon arrived in Locktown, even though it wasn't raining, winds start to howl and the rain suddenly started to fall. Smoker even commented that the weather itself was on Luffy's side. Smoker, Buggy's crew, and Nami all noticed the strange wind. Law also commented that the Will of D would bring a storm, Arashi. Gloriosa and Hancock said that love is a hurricane. Rocks was compared to storm by Roger in Shaki's bar. And Dragon's influence extends to Sabo as well. Many of his attacks carry the name Dragon, Dragon Claw Fist, Flame Dragon King. Since he trained under Dragon and the Revolutionary Army as a child, it's clear those names were inspired directly by Dragon himself. In Goa Kingdom, when he saved Sabo and Logtown when he was fighting Marines, he literally unleashed the wind. All of this points to Dragon's powers being related to wind, the force that brings hurricanes and storms. Let's look at his age. At God Valley, Dragon was 17 years old. Now he is 55. Ironically, both the Malo Black and Luffy were born on May 5th. But there is another important character who is also 55 years old and who currently stands at the very top of the Marines, none other than Sakazuki, Akainu. I would bet everything that Dragon and Sakazuki were either friends or rivals when they joined the Marines. One became a part of the system, serving under the Celestial Dragons and climbed all the way to the top, while the other abandoned the system, created the Revolutionary Army, and became its leader. But why would Akainu hate pirates so much? What could have been the reason? We know that Akainu grew up as an orphan or in extreme poverty. Could it be that his parents were killed by pirates? That would explain his hatred for pirates, especially the most powerful ones and their families, like Ace and Blackbeard. But why such specific hatred for Dragon? Because at God Valley, Dragon shot at the celestial dragons and betrayed both his duty and the organization, all for the sake of the pirates. That is why when he speaks about Luffy, he does not mention him by his name, or even calls him Strawhead. No, he calls him Dragon's son. If Dragon had stayed in the Marines, without a doubt, he would have eventually risen to become an admiral. And, of course, we know all admirals possess Logia powers. But what about Dragon? Does he also have a Logia? It's possible, but I still believe his devil fruit is something else entirely. A more logical or interesting answer is that he obtained his devil fruit during the God Valley incident. But so far, every devil fruit connected to God Valley has been either a powerful Paramasya or a Zoan. So why would Dragon's fruit alone be a Logia? It doesn't add up. And here is the biggest clue. We know the celestial dragons are obsessed with the name Dragon. They literally have Dragon in their title. The mark they brand onto criminals, the dragon's hoof, literally translates to hoof of the soaring dragon. It is a symbol meant to show that humans are owned by them, beneath their feet. Imu's transformation also connects to dragons. She literally looked like a dragon, even when possessing Gunko. In the throne room, her transformed form resembled a dragon as well. See my full video about Imu's powers for more detail. So, the celestial dragons are crazy about dragons, so much so that we already know of at least 2 devil fruits from God Valley tied directly to dragon powers. The obvious one, Kaido's devil fruit, the fish fruit, as your dragon model. The less obvious one, Kiringam's devil fruit, the Ryu no Mi model, Kirin. Ryu literally translating to dragon fruits. Even Imu was excited about this fruit on Elbaf because at its core it was a dragon fruit. So, if there were already 2 devil fruits modeled after dragons, why not a third? That's why I believe Dragon's fruit is the dragon fruit model. Ryujin, named after the Japanese and Chinese god of storms. Ryujin is associated with rainstorms, hurricanes and typhoons. All the same phenomena that seem to appear whenever Dragon arrives. The skies get darker, storms gather, and the wind grows fierce. Ryujin is also tied to the concept of storms, or Arashi. And remember, Zoro's father's name was Roronoa Arashi. The storm connection runs deep. And the flag Revolutionary Army carries has a dragon on it. And stay with me, because from here on we get to the most important part. Oda's favorite genre of music is rock and punk bands. The Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Kiss, ex-Japan and so on. You get the idea. Now, remember when Boa Hancock and Gloriosa were talking about love? They compared it to a hurricane. Here's a wild idea. Scorpions is a famous rock band. They have a song called Rock You Like a Hurricane. Hurricane equals wind equals dragon. Even rocks was compared to storm. But, even more importantly, Scorpions also have a song called Wind of Change. That song was written after the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989 and after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the so-called Iron Curtain that divided the world in half. Well, in One Piece we also have a massive red line, a wall splitting the world in two. Dragon, with the power of wind, literally wants to push the world into change. His goal is to move the world forward, to break the system. And this is where Oda's genius shines. Dragon is always shown looking to the east. Why? Because he's waiting for the sun, which in One Piece is a symbol of liberation and hope. 38 years ago, Dragon saved Shanks. And Shanks later saved Luffy in return. The history is coming full circle. After Roger reached Laugh Tale, Shanks spoke to him and cried. I believe that was when Roger revealed the truth, that Shanks was the son of Figarland Garaling, from God Valley, and that it was Dragon who had saved him. Now look at the ships. Both Shanks and Dragon's ships are dragons. Shanks' ship is red, Dragon's ship is black or dark green, and Shanks' ship also has a Nika sun symbol. Why? Because both Shanks and Dragon are waiting for the sun to appear. The planet of One Piece operates in a way very similar to Earth. If you look at Oda's sketches of the planet, you can see that, just like Earth, it rotates from west to east. This might sound complicated, but here's how it works. These are 4 seas of One Piece. This line is the red line. This line is the Grand Line. The planet rotates west to east, as shown by the arrow in Oda's sketch. That means the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, just like on Earth. So here's the deeper symbolism. Luffy, Dragon, Garp, and Roger all come from the east blue. Meanwhile, Blackbeard, Shanks, and Rocks are from the west. Fusha Village, Windmill Village, lies in the east blue, while God Valley is in the west blue. And thematically, it fits so well that it honestly blew my mind. In Japanese mythology, the wind from the east is associated with change and victory. Dragon always looks to the east, toward his hometown, the place where the sun is supposed to rise. The wind is also blowing from the east. Kochi Higashi no Kaze literally means east wind. Classically, it carries the meaning of a wind of change, a revolution. And Kochi no Kaze, the east wind, is also special to One Piece. If you look at the lyrics of Bink's Sake, it says, Kochi ni ho omakase, meaning let the sails be carried by the east wind. When Dragon appeared in Log Town, Luffy and his crew literally escaped because of that wind, giving their ship the speed. He brought the wind with him. But did you know what the Japanese subtitles said? They read Goro, Goro, which equals 56, the number connected to Luffy. It's a wordplay on Gomu Gomu, Luffy's devil fruit, but even more importantly, it connects to his powers as the sun god Nika. If Luffy is destined to be the sun and claim the One Piece, then Dragon will be the one who clears the path for him. After all, he and the Revolutionary Army embody the wind of change in the One Piece world. Now, let's tie this back to the Sea King's conversation. The world is divided by the red line. It separates the East Blue, the land of the rising sun, where Luffy was born, the one meant to bring dawn to the world, from the West Blue, where God Valley is located, and where Blackbeard comes from, the man of darkness who is destined to bring dusk. But the red line is the true issue here. What if Dragon is the one who will ultimately destroy the red line? We know that neither Luffy nor Blackbeard can directly do it. Red line is the biggest continent, even the powers of the Sun God are not enough. The only weapon capable of such destruction is Pluton, hidden in Wano. We also know that Pluton is tied to Zunisha. In order to unleash it, Wano's borders must be opened. And there is even a depiction showing Dragon holding an elephant, pouring water to nourish the plants. The elephant here represents Pluton and Zunisha. This means that the one who will free the world from isolation, destroy the red line, and truly bring the wind of change will be none other than Monkey D. Dragon. Give your ideas in the comments. I always love to hear what others think. Don't forget to subscribe to help the channel grow. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching.